Hello, YouTube. Happy New Year. It's Lion here with Hobbies of Man once again. And today we are back from our holiday and we are really excited to be here and do some new videos. So today's video is really not going to be my usual first video of the month that it usually is. Usually I have a TBR video as the first video of the month. But today we're going to have a check-in slash update slash talk, ramble, I don't know what to call it video. But basically it's just like, hey, I'm back from the holidays. Here's how my holiday went. Here's some housekeeping kind of things. Here's how I want the rest of the year to go. And, you know, here's what I read while I was away during the holidays. So, what do we start with? I think let's start with where the channel's going to go. And then we'll do the trip talk slash reading log at the same time. So I'm going to divide it all, into chapters like I usually do. If you open the description, you'll have all of the options for all of the different chapters in the video, or you can just kind of look at the scroll bar and you can see the divisions of the chapter in the video. And yeah, so let's get into it. Let's start with New Year's resolutions and then updates for the channel and how that's going to go. So I have some personal New Year's resolutions that don't really matter to the channel, so I'm not going to talk about those. But in terms of like the big channel thing that I want to do is get to 1,500 subscribers here on YouTube. We're at 700 right now, and I'm really, really happy about that. We managed to reach 700 right at the end of last year. And that was really awesome. I hadn't really expected to get that far. In fact, when I started this channel like a little bit less than 2 years ago, I was just kind of doing it for fun because, you know, whatever. And then with the pandemic, I had a lot of free time. So I ended up continuing to do that. And I didn't really think that we would get that far. But I had, once I realized that, hey, we're moving at a pretty fast pace, I was actually hoping to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. It didn't really work. And I think it's because I was stagnating as a creator and the channel was stagnating as a result because, you know, hey, this guy's just pumping out videos, but none of his videos are really evergreen videos or like very interesting videos. And I don't think I'm going to really change that. Like, I'm going to change the structure of the videos and try to make more videos that are interesting and kind of have opinions and stuff like that, and then that are not just reviews. But really, I do want to reiterate that this channel is primarily a kind of log of my reading journey. Mostly it was supposed to be primarily for manga and light novels, but it has evolved to be a channel about all of my science fiction, fantasy reading journeys, as well as all of the other things that I do that are related to that. You know, Gunpla is tangentially SFF. And the Wheel of Time TV shows and anime and all of this stuff is all, you know, SFF kind of stuff, science fiction, fantasy type of stuff. And they're all different type of hobbies that kind of connect with that. And so this is kind of like what the channel is. And it is primarily a log for myself. I actually go back and watch these videos when I'm thinking about things and about my hobby. I could do this just by writing it down, and I actually write just about everything that I talk about on the channel. I write down, except for the ramble videos. Those are kind of off the top of my head. So I could just do that by myself, but I really wanted this to be also a platform through which I could build a community to talk about this stuff with other people. And actually, I managed to find that last year, even earlier, where at the beginning of the channel, with some people that I met, right? Some people like East Coast Manga, Prom G, and, you know, Darth Penn and Josh and all of these people that were kind of starting out at the same time as me. I managed to connect with them quite well, and I talked to quite a few of them pretty regularly. So I think that I've managed to find the community that I was looking for, but I still want to continue this channel as a log of my journey through all of these hobbies. But I do still want to, you know, achieve some YouTuber type things. And one of those things is the subscriber goal that I have for this year. So I basically want to slightly over double the subscriber count this year. And I think it's definitely doable. I'm going to try to kind of maybe not change up the way I do things, but I kind of condense some things and kind of expand on some other things and try to kind of have relatively diverse, but still kind of enjoyable content to watch. I feel like even for myself, sometimes my own videos are boring. And so I do want to try to get that done better. I want to up the quality of the video production I do. I don't know how I'm going to do that because I don't really know anything about video production, but I do want to try to, better myself as a creator and, do that. And all of that goes into the 1,500 subscriber goal count, right? So there you go. In terms of like other things that I want to do for the channel, I don't think I really have another channel goal, but within, getting to 1,500 subscribers and my journey through, SFF related type things, I have a few other things that I want to do. Like I want to collect, all of the box sets for Fairy Tail, and I want to finish watching Fairy Tail because I've never actually finished watching Fairy Tail, which is kind of a funny thing, right? Fairy Tail is one of my favorite series. It's one that impacted me a lot growing up, and I've never actually finished it. And I feel that this is actually kind of a common thing with a lot of series that I really care about. I've never finished Saint Seiya. I finished Naruto, but I don't really remember finishing it. Like I know what happens at the end of Naruto, but I can't remember ever actually watching Naruto to the end. So there's another one that is really important to me. I've never actually finished watching the Clone Wars, which is another super important TV show to me, and stuff like that. So, besides Fairy Tail, finishing the watching of Fairy Tail and the collecting of Fairy Tail, I also want to finish watching the Clone Wars, and some other kind of Star Wars content there, which I don't talk about on the channel very often, but Star Wars is one of my favorite things, like, ever. I kind of don't get into Star Wars the same way other people get into Star Wars, like Kyle Katarn on YouTube and stuff like that. Like, I don't love Star Wars that much. I just like Star Wars is one of my favorite things. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that, Star Wars is one of the things that, like, me and my dad used to do a lot. Like, we would watch Star Wars very often as I was growing up. One of my favorite memories is sitting with my dad in my old house, not the house that I live in right now, but my older one, Friday nights watching Clone Wars in front of our TV while my mom was cooking in the background or whatever. I really like that. Star Wars is a huge thing for me, and Clone Wars is, like, probably the most meaningful part of Star Wars to me, so I want to finish watching it. I actually got through season 4 of it last year, so I want to continue and finish it up and finally get to watch the new season of Clone Wars and get into Bad Batch and stuff like that. But that's another one of my kind of like goals for the year. I want to watch more anime. I realized that I don't really watch anime. I mostly just read manga and rarely, if ever, watch anime. I think last year I watched 2 anime total, like, that I finished. One of them was Ava, and the other one was Record of Ragnarok. And I want to watch more of them. I want to watch Cowboy Bebop. I want to, finish watching Pacific Rim, The Black, or whatever it's called, like the one that I did a trailer reaction to. I want to finish watching Komi Can't Communicate, which I'm really loving. I think it's really, really good. I watched the first 5 episodes or 7 episodes while I was over in Mexico during the vacation. I was sick for a few days, so I didn't really want to do anything except stay in bed, so I managed to watch some anime during that time. I started watching Magi as well during the trip, and I really want to finish it. I think Magi is really, really good, really interesting. I don't really want to collect the manga, but I think the TV show is really good. I want to watch Arcane. Technically not an anime, but I mean, it's animated and it's kind of like in the same genre vibe. So I want to finish watching Arcane. And I want to finish watching Eden Zero. Eden Zero is one of my favorite mangas, so I really should watch the anime and see how it kind of does. And because that's one of the kind of types of video ideas that I have, is comparing the source material to the adaptation and kind of looking at how it works. And specifically only for anime, because I feel like that's easy to do. If I were to do that, like, for Wheel of Time or something like that, like word for word, trying to see all of the differences, it would be kind of impossible, and I would get a lot of hate for it, and it would just not be fun. So I'm not going to do it for, like, big Western IPs, but I don't mind doing it for anime because I think it's mostly just for fun. Like, hey, this is slightly different from this, and it's really not that big of a deal. Everyone more or less understands, hey, they're basically the same thing. There's just something better or worse in one of the adaptations or the original, depending on your preference, right? So there you go. That's in terms of, like, New Year's resolutions. I know most of them are pretty kind of lame, I guess, because I don't really find New Year's resolutions to be all that meaningful, but I have, like, a personal one that I really want to achieve that I think is really meaningful to me. in terms of health related stuff. And then the big one for YouTube is, getting to that subscriber goal. But other than that, I really don't care all that much. Most of these New Year's resolutions are mostly just so I can start planning out my year. It's kind of like a kind of easy to do kind of like pep talk for myself, like, hey, I wrote this down, I gotta finish it, kind of thing. And that's basically it for that. That's a kind of the New Year's resolution. And let's tie it into the channel here. So I am going to change how the channel works a little bit. Instead of doing reviews on manga based on volume number, which is like, I would do volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Komi Can't Communicate, and then do another one which was 4, 5, and 6. I'm actually going to try to do it by arc, which is how I've been doing by arc or by saga, depending on how they're broken up, which is how I've been doing One Piece and Dr. Stone. And I think that works so much better for me because it's a lot easier to kind of stop and start at those parts. And I don't have to kind of continuously connect back to something I read in the previous volume because when I read for my personal enjoyment, if it's a manga, I usually read the volume beforehand, and so I can kind of get back into it and kind of remember what's happening before the new volume that I got. But it kind of gets annoying to do that over and over, especially if I'm trying to make videos on specific series continuously. So I think that the division of by arc is actually much better and much more interesting, and it kind of stops me from having to do that kind of like read the previous volume thing, because I just talk about the full section of storytelling and then I can move on. So I'm going to do it by arcs instead. This is going to be kind of difficult for certain things that don't really have arcs, like rom-com type series, Wotakoi and Rent a Girlfriend and Darling and like Dress Up Darling don't really have arcs per se. I mean, I guess they do, but like no one really talks about these types of manga in that sort of way. So it might be kind of weird to do it, but I want to try to do arcs instead of manga volumes for my reviews. I'm going to mostly focus on first impressions. I might actually do it in kind of a few different levels. I might do a first impressions of a first chapter, and then a first impressions of that same series of the first volume, and then of the first 3 volumes, or of the first arc, whatever is the best kind of division there. And this is kind of to kind of develop the kind of first impression that I have, right? Because a first chapter is really good at kind of telling you, hey, this might be interesting, but it's not really good at maintaining your interest, right? So that's why you would read the first volume. And if you read the first volume, you might not necessarily have the interest at the end of it. But if you read 3 of them, you probably have a pretty solid idea. So I don't know how I'm going to do it. I definitely think I'm going to try to do first impressions, at least for first chapter and first volume. After that, I don't know if I'll try to do another first impressions or whatever. But the kind of goal here is to do first impression videos and then review by arc and then finish up the series and then review the series completely. So each series will have at least 3 videos dedicated to it. And then I also want to try to do other things, like why you should read certain series, like why should you read, One Piece, why you should read Eden Zero, why you should read Black Clover. Not necessarily, things that are super neutral and kind of like everyone just kind of reads. Like, I wouldn't make a why should you read Demon Slayer video, because everyone and their mother has read Demon Slayer already, right? But, certain series that I like that a lot that may have hate unnecessarily, like why you should read Fairy Tail or why you should read Black Clover, might be some of the videos that I want to try to do that. And, kind of why you should read One Piece is a kind of an interesting one, because a lot of people know about One Piece, but a lot of people also don't want to read One Piece because it's so long. I was one of those people. So I think that it would be an interesting video to kind of do. But other than that, I think that I'm going to keep light novel content the same as I've been having it. 1 video per volume of the story. So, Solo Leveling has volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. I'm going to do a video for each of them. I've already done videos for 1 and 2, but, 3 is going to have another video for itself. So light novels are basically going to stay the same. Books and novels will stay the same. But comic books and manga might be different. I definitely want to continue with the comic book by the issue volume, series that I have, like the one for Dark Ages and the one for Dark Knights of Steel. I want to continue both of them. I might try to do one for a different series, but I don't really think so. I think that those two are fine. I'm going to keep Kaiju number 8 chapters however they are right now. I might move the date from Saturday to Friday, but I'm not really sure because I really like the Saturday date because it allows me to continue to have them consistently, even when I do thematic reading logs or thematic TBRs during the channel for themes for different kind of series. So I think that I'm probably going to keep Kaiju number 8 on Saturdays, which is kind of annoying because it's 2 days after the chapter releases. A lot of people are basically done talking about it by that point, but I think that it's still meaningful to do. So I'm going to continue to do Kaiju number 8 chapter reviews. I'm going to continue the 2 series of the comic books by the issue that I'm doing. Once I finish those, I probably will move on to a different series, but I don't know which one that will be because Dark Ages is about to finish in 3 more issues. And Dark Knights of Steel has another 9 to go, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, in terms of TV shows, I'm going to continue to do the What Talk videos, and then I'm going to do a Wheel of Time series review, like the TV show, not the books. And so I'm going to talk about all of those. I'm going to try to, get all of that done by the end of the second week of January. So I have everything planned out, basically. I have it all written down in terms of what I'm going to have all the way up to the 18th. So I'm going to try to finish all of that. But yeah, this isn't really concise or coherent. So let me try to kind of simplify it. So my 2 New Year's resolutions were, get to 1,500 subscribers. And within that, watch more anime and finish up collecting and watching Fairy Tail and finish the Clone Wars so that I can have, more anime / TV shows to talk about on the channel. In terms of how the channel is structured, I'm going to change how I talk about manga. I'm going to only do first impression reviews, arc reviews, and then full series reviews. So each series should have between 1 to 3 videos, depending on the type of series. Like if it's a short story collection, it's only 1 volume. I'm not going to do a first impressions video, and I'm not going to do one by arcs. I'm just going to talk about the whole thing. But if it's a series that has, 10 volumes, and it's divided into arcs, I might talk about the 2-3 arcs that are in these 10 volumes, or I might read the full series completely and only do a first impressions and a final kind of review there. And kind of, it's going to be based on the amount of volumes, right? So usually I think that I'm going to have at least 2 videos per series, right? So I'm going to have the first impressions video and then the full series video. And if I have arcs, it's going to depend on what size the series is, right? So yeah, light novels and books are going to stay the same, 1 video per book, unless it's Wheel of Time, in which case it gets 2 videos. And then comic books, I'm going to try to just talk about them in my check-in, my reading log, and then my haul video, as well as like the 2 specific series that I have comic books by the issue series for. So there you go. That's all of the update kind of stuff. I hope you guys found that kind of interesting and meaningful. I mean, I don't know if you guys care about me personally as an individual, or you are interested in seeing how the channel goes. I don't really know, but I don't mind sharing it anyways, because like I said at the beginning, this is a video, this channel is supposed to be videos chronologing or chronicling my journey through these kind of science fiction fantasy series and hobbies, primarily for myself, but also as a way to build a community to talk to other people with, right? So there you go. That's the channel update, New Year's resolution side of things. Let's talk about my trip now. So my trip was really great. I managed to have quite a bit of fun. I had a few days where I was sick, which really sucks. It's just a thing that happens when you go to a different country. You're not used to the way that the food is prepared in the other country. You're not used to how dirty some places in that country might be. You're not used to the kind of same bacteria that is in the food and the water and the air of that country. So you kind of get messed up. Specifically for Mexico, there's like a thing that just happens all the time. A lot of people call it the revenge of Moctezuma. When you come back from Mexico, you kind of get sick at the end of your trip. This isn't necessarily what happened to me. I got sick in the middle of my trip, And it was basically because I got some kind of like stomach bug. And everyone in my family, plus one of my uncles got it. So it wasn't like specifically just me. My parents, my sister, all got sick with the same thing. And then one of my mom's brothers got sick with the same thing while we were in my grandma's town/house. My grandma doesn't own the town, or like she owns the house in the town, but it's my grandma's town because she's like the person that we go see in that town, if that makes sense. I worded that really weird, but there you go. That's what I meant. And those 3 days were kind of bad. It was from the 26th through the 29th, I was sick. The 30th, 31st, and 1st, I was fine. So kind of 3 days that are kind of relatively inactive were the ones I was sick, which is pretty good. I think it was fine. Those 3 days between the Christmas and, New Year's are basically like limbo days. Like you don't know what's going on anyway. So I think it was okay to get sick during those days. But, yeah, in terms of things that relate to the channel, I got a lot of manga. So I had bought 2 different orders of manga. And I managed to pick them up from my grandma's house because I send them to her house and then get them. So I'm not going to do a haul video, but I'm just going to show you here. This is all I picked up that I had bought before Christmas and that I got from my grandma's house. And then while we were there, and then during the days that I was sick, when we were in Monterey, which is the big city that we go to, Monterey is it was actually called Monterrey with the 2 R's. So the R sound pulls through, and it's one of the bigger cities in Mexico. It's actually one of the 3 big cities in Mexico, the other 2 being Guadalajara and then Mexico City. And it's like the economic powerhouse of the north region of Mexico. It's in Nuevo León, which is like one of the states in Mexico, and that's where I'm from. But like, my dad's family lives there, and my grandma's family lives like in a small city in Nuevo León that's like 2 hours from Monterrey. So while we stay at my grandma's house, sometimes we go to Monterrey. And during one of those times that we went, I got some manga. And then when we went back to Monterrey to stay there in a hotel to visit my dad's family, I managed to kind of convince my parents to, hey, can we go to this mall specifically because they have a Panini store there? And then while you guys are kind of shopping for other things, can we stop at this other Panini store in a different place? And the second time, the second Panini store was actually really good because we managed to stop there. And near it, there's a coffee shop that my dad actually found really interesting because there was this like Japanese guy that was selling coffee that he and his wife, who was a Mexican lady, kind of started harvesting in like the coffee region of Mexico, which is like Chiapas and Veracruz. It's like the south region of Mexico where there's like, a lot of what's called jungles. They were doing stuff down there, and they were from North Mexico, and they had imported some of that from the south, and they were selling it because they wanted to make their own kind of like a coffee brand, and my dad was really interested in it, so we got some really nice coffee. And actually that's what we've been drinking in the mornings for the last couple days that we've been back, and it's really, really good. So yeah, I think the company's called Yazin, so I'll show you the picture of the logo if you guys are interested in getting coffee from them. But yeah, so I managed to actually get a lot more stuff as well in Mexico, or in Monterrey. And I'm not going to really talk about it right now, but it was really nice to be able to get this stuff. I managed to complete some series. I managed to buy some more volumes for a series that I hadn't been able to finish and stuff like that. So I really liked it. I thought it was really nice in terms of buying stuff for myself and for the channel to talk about it. And I thought that was really, really great. So I'm really happy with that. And now let's talk about the reading log, I guess. So let's see. The trip started on the 19th, really early in the morning. Wait, was the 19th Saturday or Friday? Whatever. Saturday of that week. We left really early from my house in Texas. We left at 4 a.m. and then we went there. We went to the border. It was about 6 hours driving from here because we couldn't go through the Laredo border because there's some problems there. So we went to a different border over at Eagle Pass, and then we went through the border, and then we went all the way to Monterey. But from Eagle Pass to Monterey, it's about another 5 hours. So the whole trip was supposed to be 11 hours long. However, there was a huge line at the border because a lot of people wanted to pass. So we spent another 2 hours there. And then we had to drive from Monterey to my grandma's city. So that was another 2 hours. So basically we spent like 18 hours on the road, all told, which sucks because this should be a 8-hour trip, but it's just how it works. You gotta kind of change your travel plans, so that kind of sucks. But it was a long trip. Basically slept through most of it, and once we were in Mexico, the roads there, the interstate roads are not as good as they are here in the U.S. So there's a lot of like head shaking, and I couldn't really read anything while the car was moving. So I watched a little bit of TV, but mostly I just kind of listened to music the whole time. But once we were in my grandma's house, we finally got settled in, and I finally managed to get to read some stuff. And overall, I read pretty nicely. I thought I had a really good reading time. I didn't really read as much as I was hoping to, but I read enough, and I think that was really good. I managed to finish all of the One Piece Summit War saga, the whole thing where like the Sabaody archipelago, and then Amazon Lily and Impel Down, and the Summit War arc. And man, it was such a good kind of arc or saga or whatever you want to call it for One Piece. Water 7 is slightly better in my opinion. I think that Water 7 means a little bit more to me personally, but Summit War or Paramount War or Marineford, whatever the stupid saga is called, I think it's Summit War, was really good. So I liked it a lot. I thought it was really nicely done. I think there's some really good, interesting, kind of meaningful moments there with, Luffy. I think that Luffy really needed a smackdown to kind of realize, hey man, I'm not as powerful as I think I am. I think it's time to train. So I really like that. I thought it was really good. I'm really excited to get into more of One Piece, but for now, I think I'm going to pause for a little bit. I'm going to do the video review for this saga here, and then I'm going to talk about my favorite moments in One Piece, and then I'm going to do some kind of ranking things. Like, I don't know if I want to do ranking the Straw Hats, or if I want to do ranking the sagas, or if I want to rank the arcs. Generally, I just want to stop for a little bit, have a few weeks off of One Piece, of reading One Piece, and just kind of think about what One Piece is so far. So definitely going to do a top 10 moments for One Piece. But other than that, I don't know if I want to do some sort of like, hey, this is my ranking for all of the sagas, or sagas/arcs, or if I want to talk about the Straw Hats or whatever. I haven't really figured it out, but I do want to do at least 2 or 3 videos for One Piece that are not, directly reviews of One Piece. So we'll do that at some point. And yeah, I don't know. I really liked One Piece a lot. I thought it was really good. Then I read Drifting Dragons, volumes 4 and 5. I actually managed to buy these right at the end of last year, right before I came back to my house from where I live in Dallas, up in Northeast Texas, where I go to university. So it was nice to buy these. And actually, my buddy, one of my roommates, actually did me a favor and went and bought me some more because there was a sale going on at my local comic book shop. So I thought it was really cool. Thanks. I really appreciate that he did that. And yeah, Drifting Dragons was really good. I really like it a lot. I think it's really awesome. I think that the interest of the series is not just because it's a food manga, but rather the art is really good as well. And the story is actually really interesting because it kind of looks at the, where your food comes from, basically. Although this is more specifically just like dragons. So it's not really anyone's food in the real world. But I think that it kind of has a very interesting take on it because, these guys are hunters and they're doing it for money, but they're also really respectful of the thing that they're hunting, and they're hoping to get something out of it, like a good meal. And so there's this really interesting kind of dynamic and relationship between the people that are hunting these dragons and the dragons themselves, right? And I really like it. I think it's a really interesting kind of thing. And the art style just kind of makes it even better because it's so beautiful looking. It's really amazing. I think it's really good overall. Just great stuff there. So, yeah, and then I read Dr. Stone. I actually ended up reading some of this during Christmas. I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah, I read the Truth of Petrification saga, which I was really in love with. I thought it was really good. I'm really liking that you can tell it's the end game, but it's not really feeling rushed. It's kind of getting there at its own pace, which is really good. I think that this is, kind of better than what's happening with My Hero Academia right now. However, the situation is quite different. Horikoshi is just tired of MHA. he wants to finish and move on probably, and so that's why he's kind of rushing it. But I don't really feel that with Dr. Stone. I do still feel that, hey, it's coming to a close. We're slowly getting to the point where we can, kind of figure out what's going on, right? And I really like this saga specifically because it's just really good. I really like it. I think there's a lot of good tension. I like that there is essentially a time skip where Suika just grew by herself. And I really like that section of the story because it was really emotional. Just Soika being like alone and being like, hey, I'm literally the only human alive right now. Was really, really interesting because, she's not like Senku. She can't really just like figure out science on her own. But she managed to kind of find it with Senku's help, basically, because he had left her some instructions. And I think that it was really, really good that she did that. And I really like the way the story kind of unfolded. And just really, really good stuff, man. Dr. Stone is a really great series. I really feel like it's really underrated. I don't think that many people talk about it or talk about it positively all that much. And I think that's a real shame, man, because Dr. Stone is really, really, really great. Like, man, Dr. Stone is such a good series, so fun. And so during this whole time, I was basically kind of just chilling in my grandma's house. There really isn't much to do there. Like, the city that she lives in is really small. And because it's Christmas time, people are really not really looking to do much. They're kind of just trying to stay home and enjoy time with their family. And I really like that. I actually really like going to my grandma's city because it's kind of a really nice, relaxing time there because I don't really live in a city. I mean, like, I live in cities in Texas and kind of deal with city life problems. But I'm mostly a suburb kind of person. I've lived most of my life in the suburbs. So I'm really kind of a slow-going person by city standards. But, the small city that my grandma lives in is literally, like, basically a ranch. I mean, it's a city, but by American standards, it would be really, like rural feeling. And I think that's really great. I really like it. It's a very nice slow pace. There's not really all that much going on. And it really makes me just relax when I go there. So I really like going to my grandma's house. Because it really kind of takes away a lot of pressure and a lot of noise and a lot of things that, maybe you don't really notice day to day, but kind of build up into this kind of like slight stress if you live in the city or near the city. So I don't know. I liked it a lot. I really enjoy going to my grandma's house. We don't really get to do much because, there really isn't much to do, but I like that. And I thought it was really nice. My little cousin is really obsessed with Among Us right now. But he doesn't speak English, right? So he says Amugus instead of Among Us. And so I would make fun of him and be like, hey, we'll play this game, although I don't know what it is, and just kind of tease him. But we managed to play Among Us with him quite a bit. There's only 6 of us that are young people in the family. Well, there's 7 of us, but one of my cousins didn't go because she had something to do. But it was kind of not really that enjoyable, I guess, because there's only 6 of us, so we could really easily go through the party in terms of like who gets to be imposter and who isn't. And my little cousins were like 7 years old, so he's not really good at lying or kind of like having a poker face and stuff. So it's actually like oddly boring and fun at the same time, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. And then we played some board games with him, because he doesn't really have that many people around him, especially the last 2 years with COVID. He hasn't really had any other kids to interact with, except his brother. So and his brother is like 17, so there really isn't like that much moments where they connect all that much. So me and my cousins all were like, yeah, man, we'll play with you, it's fine. And it was cool. I liked that a lot. I think it was really good for him to get to interact with other people in like ways that he wants, instead of just having to be like, hey grandma, how's it going, and having to deal with his parents and stuff like that. So I found that was really good, really fun. And me and my cousin, my little cousin's brother, we kind of bonded over anime and stuff like that. We had conversations about different types of anime and stuff like that. So I really enjoy visiting them. I think it's really fun. But yeah. And then the last 2 things that I read were Solo Leveling. Volume 3, which is really, really good. Really enjoyed it. I think that the way that this is going is really good. Someone told me that this was supposed to be kind of like more slice of lifey, and not really. It's very action packed, although the action is slightly different from the first two volumes. It's not so much grinding as it is like, hey man, we gotta politically deal with this kind of crap, and I think it's really interesting. I'm really excited to see where this is going, because it's not really like your usual Japanese style, like, hey, we just have to be the bad guy, and the main character doesn't really care about politics, so he's just gonna go do it anyways. Even though, you know, people probably wouldn't want him to do it. This is a lot more kind of like thoughtful and a little bit more kind of similar to Western novels in that sense. It's a little bit more serious about itself. But overall, I really liked it. I thought it was really good. And I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. I'm curious to see what the next color for the cover is. I don't know if they're going to keep these kind of like relatively similar, opaque, kind of low tier, like, what's it called? Like dark colors that I really like. I mean, I really like how they look, but I'm curious to see how they're going to continue. Like, I mean, is there going to be a blue one or a green one or a red one at some point? I don't really feel that would really fit the color schemes that they're going with so far. So I'm curious to see how it goes, but I really like those covers. So yeah. And then the last thing I read was Reign of the Seven Spellblades, Volume 3. I really like this one. Reign of the Seven Spellblades is really good. It continuously manages to maintain my attention. However, I feel like the end of book 1 was really amazing, and nothing of the series has managed to peak at that level yet. So we're really kind of just going through the paces and seeing what's going on, and I'm really enjoying it, but there's kind of like this element or this feeling of like, hey man, maybe this isn't like as good as I thought. So I'm curious to see where it goes in Volume 4, but generally I do really enjoy it. I would still give this a 4 out of 5, but there's this kind of slight waning of the interest because it hasn't really gotten anywhere that I find really interesting. However, the magic system and the way that everyone is just kind of like really dark is really interesting. So I don't know. I'm mostly reading this for the characters right now, more so than the plot line. So I'll take that what you will, I guess. But yeah, and other than that, I don't think I did all that much in my holiday. I mean, I had a nice Christmas dinner, although, you know, Mexican people celebrate Christmas on the 24th, not the 25th, because it's like Jesus was born at midnight or something. I'm not exactly sure why, but we celebrate at the night of the 24th into the morning of the 25th, and then the 25th is when we have Santa Claus, you know, come and give gifts to kids, right? But really, most Mexican people don't really celebrate Santa Claus that way. We wait until the 6th of January, which is like Three Kings Day or King's Day or whatever it's called. And then the kings were the ones like the Magi that came to meet Jesus, like in the Bible and stuff like that. So those guys come in and they're like, hey man, we brought some gifts, right? So usually kids get gifts on January 6th. At least that's how it used to be. And that's how my parents tell me about it. But I'm not really sure how it works out anymore. But yeah, I mean, Christmas is like a very kind of non-religious holiday nowadays. So I'm sure a lot of people get gifts on Christmas in Mexico. So yeah. But where was I going with that? I don't know. Okay, anyway, Christmas dinner was really nice on the 24th into the 25th. Didn't really do much on the 25th. My little cousin had some gifts to open because we do Christmas in like Santa Claus style in my mom's family. And he was basically playing with his toys all day. And everyone else was just kind of just chilling in the living room. And then I had a nice, New Year's Eve dinner at my grandpa's house, which was really good. And this is my dad's side of the family on the 31st. And yeah, really enjoyed my time. I also managed to build 2 different Gunpla kits. I didn't record them because it was kind of weird to just sit down and record yourself building a Gunpla kit in the middle of like the living room. But I built them. I built a Barbatos HG and an HG Barbatos and an HG Char's what's it called? Like the evil version of the evil mech kit. what the heck? That's my favorite one, and I know what it's called. It's not the Gof. It's the Zaku. There you go. Char's Zaku 2, the nice pink one, which was really great. I liked it a lot. My cousins were really amazed. They were like, "Oh, holy shit, man! You really built this by yourself?" I was like, "Yeah, man. You just saw me do it," and I had fun, kind of talking with them about it and stuff. So, yeah, overall, great stuff. Really enjoyed my trip. Really liked it. Kind of sad to be back, but also kind of excited to be back. The trip was both exhausting and exhilarating at the same time, and mostly, usually, trips like that are that because, you know, you get sick, and then you're like, fuck, I gotta deal with my family all day, and then you're like, okay, well, I like my family, so it's okay. And you're really kind of bouncing between really happy and really kind of annoyed. And, you know, that's just how it is. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm really happy that I went. I'm really happy with all of the stuff that I did. And, yeah, so there you go. That's the first video of the year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was basically me just talking and rambling. So I understand if you guys really didn't like it all that much. And, you know, let me know what you guys are interested to see this year from me. You know, what type of videos that you want me to see, want me to do, what type of kind of content you want to see on the channel. Let me know. I'm not promising that I'll do any of the content you guys recommend, but I'll probably end up doing some of it, depending on, you know, my own personal plans as well. So, yeah, tomorrow I'm going to do a ramble video and a collecting goals for 2022 video, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But I do have basically a video planned for the next 2 weeks, so it should be fine and everything should work. Let's see, yeah. Tomorrow I'm gonna have my post-holiday check-in, or well, today's video is the post-holiday check-in, and then Thursday's gonna be the Mexican holiday manga haul, plus my manga collecting goals for 2022, and then Friday's my ramble video, plus the Wheel of Time video 3, and then from there we'll continue on with the more regularly scheduled content. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys very much for all the support and for helping me out. And I hope you guys had nice holidays. And yeah, see you guys later.